Hi, and welcome to another episode of The Well of Inspiration. Thank you so much for joining us. We are here to give you some motivational content to inspire you and hopefully help you change your life and put it in a very positive direction. Wellington is with me this morning. Wellington, what is on the table? What is up for grabs today on The Well of Inspiration?
Okay, so what I want us to look at today is this whole idea of loving yourself. You see, we sometimes go around busy loving other people, doing the best that we can for others, and forgetting that we also have a responsibility towards ourselves. Your entire life is lived through the lens that you yourself get to see the world with. But if you don't take care of that lens, you might go through your life actually not realizing the beauty that is there out there in life because you are just not taking good care of yourself. We've got responsibilities to look after our friends, look after our families, raise our families the best that we can. But our value to them is a subject of how much we show up in the best version of ourselves. That is why I say that everybody has got a responsibility to love themselves enough to be able to show up for their families, for their friends, and for their loved ones in the best way that they can. But this can only happen if you take the time to actually look at yourself and take care of yourself. If your mental health is not in order, if your physical health is not in order, if you are not just keeping yourself in good shape, you might actually lose that ability to add value to those that you love. And I think that's not what we want. We'd rather be strong and happy where we are so that we can then contribute positively to those that we love. So it's all about loving yourself.
Wellington, I absolutely love this subject because I think it's something that's very difficult for very many individuals to actually, sit back and think about loving themselves. I think if we look back on the different generations, the generations before us, it was all about taking care of everyone. I think also in Africa, we have this culture where it's all about, ensuring that your children, your community, everyone is taken care of. It's something that has been passed on. But I like the way you're bringing it forward and you're saying loving yourself. It allows you to actually be the best version of yourself. So in turn, you can actually give out the best outcomes of yourself to other people.
Absolutely. Your relationship with yourself is the primary relationship of your life. Before you go on and try to love everybody else, love yourself first. Put yourself first. Treat yourself better than everybody else. Treat yourself as well as you want to treat other people. And you will realize that you are in a better position to actually contribute more positively to your friends, to your families, and to everybody. That is why I think we should treat ourselves the same way that we would treat somebody that we love and somebody that we respect.
And I think that this episode where, you say loving yourself, I think it will make people see the difference between loving themselves and being selfish. I think this episode is one of those episodes that's going to make people see things completely different and not look at it as, me loving myself is selfish, but look at it in a bigger light and see how it will impact those around them.
Okay, so like I'm saying, treat yourself the way you would treat somebody that you love and somebody that you respect. How do you treat those people? You treat them with kindness. You treat them with patience. You give them time, space, and opportunities. You make sure they have room to bloom, to do as well as they can in their lives. You allow them the space to show up in the best way that they can. But the thing is, we are happy to do that for other people, but we're not happy to do that for ourselves. That is why I say, if you really want to be the best for your families, for those that you love, take the time, look back and ask yourself, am I sleeping properly? And if you're not, how is that affecting how you show up in the world? Are you eating healthy? And how is that showing up in the way that you're coming across in the world? Are you enriching your mindset by reading, by studying, by keeping yourself up to speed with what's going on? If you're not doing that, you find that you lag behind and that doesn't work very well for you. So there's a reason why we want to be able to work on ourselves first, before we think of working on anybody else or even helping anybody else.
I like the way you put it, Wellington, when you say, it's all about how do I do this? We're so used to being kind. We're so used to taking time out to help other people, to show them different things, when we should also be doing the same thing for ourselves. Because like you say, it gives out the best version of you as an individual.
Absolutely. One of the most important things is the ability to thank yourself for the good things that you do. To recognize that you are actually doing a good job. Because you might wait for thanks and gratitude from other people, but you might never get these things, right? And there comes a time when you have to allow yourself to relax a little bit. Take some time to play. Take some time to have some fun, because this lessens the burdens that you carry and allows you to loosen up and recalibrate yourself in preparation for even better performance as you show up for your families and for everybody else. And when it comes to just understanding who you are, self-reflection, I always recommend that you take some time to meditate and reflect. When you slow your world down to simply just reflect and meditate and try to see where you have been, where you are, and where you are going, and embracing whatever's happening around you with a peaceful heart and a contented spirit, it makes you so much better as an individual. And when you show up for your friends, for your families, you are a calmer person, a reflective person, and a very supportive, patient, and helpful human being to all the other people that you love and that you care about.
Absolutely. Meditate, reflect. And I think this is something that a lot of us lack, especially in today's world. We're so busy, we're so occupied, our minds are so distracted on different things that are going on in our lives. We're focused on, making it better, being bigger, trying to find solutions to our different problems, when sometimes the solution could actually just be sitting back, reflecting, meditating, taking that time for you, that time out.
I totally agree with you, Dawn. And sometimes we are not perfect human beings. Things do go wrong. You try to do something, it doesn't work out, and you spend a lot of time just thinking you've messed up. But one of the things that I recommend as you work on loving yourself is to also learn to forgive yourself. There are times when you can't show up when you need to show up. Allow yourself to be that person who recognizes what has gone wrong, but gives themselves the forgiveness that is necessary for them to be able to move on. Don't keep feeling guilty and beating yourself in the head saying, why did I do this? Why did I not do this? Just learn to forgive yourself. Understand yourself enough to realize that you are not a perfect human being. Sometimes things will go wrong. And sometimes there's nothing you can do about it, but to simply learn from past mistakes and then work towards becoming a better person in the future.
Absolutely, Wellington. And when we're talking about loving yourself, I think that forgiveness comes naturally once you begin to love yourself. You can allow yourself that space to forgive yourself, because when you look at forgiveness, for example, when you forgive people around you, the ones you love, you know why you're forgiving them. It's because you love them. It's because you care for them. It's because you know that they're not perfect, that they make mistakes. And if you can love yourself, you'll be able to look at it exactly the same way. As you make mistakes, you are not perfect, and you are someone worthy of that love and forgiveness.
I totally agree with you. And when you forgive yourself, you remove the burdens. Because when you carry around guilt with you, when you carry around, you're basically trying to walk into the future carrying the baggage of the past with you. And that is not an easy task to do. It's like giving somebody a lift in a truck. We do that back home. Giving somebody a lift in a truck, and they're carrying their bag. And when they get in the truck, they get in the truck and continue to carry their bag as if there's nowhere to lay down. What I'm saying is, forgive yourself, lay down the burden, and allow your life to carry on towards the goals, the dreams, and the things that you want to achieve for yourself and for your families.
There you have it. Today, it's all about loving yourself right here on the Well of Inspiration. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere.
Professional voiceovers are the best way to deliver your messages and add credibility to your radio station. Our production house is equipped to do just that. Be it station liners, show trailers, endorsements, commercials, show promos, or station IDs, we do it all. Get in touch with us today to find out more.
Welcome back. Today on the Well of Inspiration, Wellington is enlightening you with loving yourself. For so many of us who find it so difficult to love ourselves, I think most of the time we confuse loving ourselves with being selfish. But Wellington is breaking it down and explaining it to us and saying, loving yourself goes way past just looking only at yourself. It allows you to look at the bigger picture and allows you to love people in a better way, allows you to be a better person, allows you to understand yourself more, and allows for your positivity to be felt even further with different people that you want to, touch on. When you love yourself, you give yourself the kindness, you give yourself that patience. You tend to learn to give yourself forgiveness, to forgive yourself for things that you might have done, because you, just like everybody else, are not a perfect person. You're not perfect human, and so is everybody else. And if you learn to forgive yourself and learn to put these different things in play by loving yourself, you can actually make a better place and a better person for yourself and for those around you. Wellington.
Absolutely. You know what? When we talk about loving yourself needs you to serve other people from your overflow. In other words, fill your cup first. When you fill your cup first, then from the overflow, you can serve other people. This is a very interesting concept, because sometimes we want others to be impressed by the way we show up when we ourselves are not impressed by the way we show up. We want other people to love us more than we love ourselves. Sometimes it doesn't work like that. People will love you the same way that you love yourself. And I love the whole dance between relationships. And when we get into these relationships, we often look to the other person to fulfill us. When what we don't realize is that you want to show up in a relationship as somebody who is already somewhere with a cup that is full. When your cup is full and your partner comes through with a cup that's full, what you then do is you complement each other in your fullness, right? You're not waiting for another person to fill your cup, because if they don't fill your cup, then you get hurt. They're not waiting for you to fill their cup, because if you're not able to do that, then they feel hurt. What I'm saying is, love yourself. Treat yourself the same way you want other people to treat you. Treat yourself the same way you want to treat other people. Serve from your overflow. Fill your cup first, and then serve from your overflow.
So, Wellington, I do love the way you say serve other people from your overflow, because this allows you to continue, just having that self-love, allowing yourself to continue going while you're still being able to actually take care of other people around you. You also talked about relationships and how we tend to go into relationships not thinking about being whole as we walk into the relationship, but expecting that fulfillment and that relationship should somehow make you whole. And I think looking at it differently, walking into it whole, knowing you are you and you're happy and you're taking care of yourself makes a big difference when you walk into a relationship, because you don't look to that relationship to fulfill you. You're actually fulfilled, and you can actually give more towards that relationship.
Absolutely. You don't go in and suffocate the other person to make yourself feel better. You know what I mean? It doesn't work like that. Yeah. So the other thing that I want us to remember when in the context of loving ourselves is this whole idea of the stories we tell ourselves. Sometimes the reason why we struggle to love ourselves is because of the stories we're telling ourselves. If in your head, in our heads, there's this person who sounds exactly like you, who speaks exactly like you, and when they talk to you, you actually relate. That person has a tendency of telling you the stories that are not good for you. They tell you how you're not good enough, how these people hurt you because you are just not good enough, or you are the person who deserves this kind of sadness in your life, or maybe whatever you're trying to do, it has never been done before. Who do you think you are that you can actually do this? When you tell yourself these stories, they become the inhibiting factors to how much you can achieve and how much you can go on to love other people. Sometimes we tell ourselves this whole story of, I am my brother's keeper. Yes, you are your brother's keeper, but you are also your keeper. And before you can become your brother's keeper, look after yourself so that you can then be your brother's keeper, effectively your brother's keeper, not just because you're trying out of emptiness, right? Give yourself that love that appreciation, that recognition, and that will be the ingredients you need to make yourself love other people even better.
Absolutely, Wellington. And when you say, stories that we tell ourselves, our minds is the one place that can, give us stories that really detract from the different things that we want to achieve, push us aside. So we need to quiet that voice in our minds that is so familiar with us, and tell that voice it's time for you to be quiet so that you can actually learn to love yourself and in turn be able to give to other people. Wellington, before we wrap up today, is there anything else you'd like to add on today's episode?
You know what? I just want to say, if I was to change the school curriculum, I would add a subject called self-love. That will be the subject every student is supposed to go through, whether they like it or not, because it is critical, it is necessary, and when you get older and mature and go into the world, that becomes a very big part of who you are to the rest of the world. Self-love is very, very critical. That is why I advocate for each and every person to invest in themselves. Whatever you do for other people, don't forget to invest in yourself. Invest in your education. Invest in your health. Invest in your wellness. Okay? Spend some money on yourself that you would otherwise spend on other people. Because when you do that, then you are putting yourself in a position of being able to add even more value to the people that you interact with.
Wellington, thank you so much for today's episode. And for our viewers, thank you for joining us for this episode. If you have any questions, don't forget you can actually leave your comments in the comments bar below. Don't forget as well, if you have stories of, how loving yourself has transformed your life in a positive life, please share it with us. We would love to hear from you. And if you know somebody, which I'm sure you do, who finds it very difficult to love themselves because they don't know the difference between loving themselves and selfishness, they feel that it is being selfish, please share this episode with them. Let them see it differently. Allow them that opportunity to come into their own self, to love themselves, and to be a better and bigger person for it.
Absolutely. And I wish you all the very best for the coming week and continue to love yourself.
Wellington, till I see you next time, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dawn. Have a great week ahead.
And to you too.
Thank you.